The fire station smelled like diesel and old smoke, better than blood and rot, which is what everything else smelled like now. 6 hours since the convoy got hit. 6 hours of perimeter checks, supply inventory, and telling myself the protocols would keep us alive if I just followed them right. Staff Sergeant Vincent Reed, Army Reserves, 38, combat medic. 15 years of training for scenarios that never included your daughter screaming in the back of an overturned Humvee, while things that used to be people tried to pull her through the window. Dad, it hurts. Lily, 14, sitting against the engine bay wall with her left ankle splinted. Fractured, not broken. I'd checked it 3 times because checking again was protocol, and protocol was all I had left that made sense. I know, sweetheart. Ibuprofen in 2 hours. I adjusted the splint. Textbook application. The manual said 48 hours before weight bearing. The manual didn't say what to do when you're trapped in rural Montana with 8 people and infected multiplying outside like a math problem gone wrong. Corporal Yates cleared his throat from the bay door. 22, fresh off his second deployment, still thought rank structure mattered in the apocalypse. Staff Sergeant, perimeter set. Drummond's on overwatch in the tower. Good. Ammunition count? 240 rounds, mixed caliber. 6 magazines for the M4S, 12 for sidearms. I did the math automatically, training reflex. 3 soldiers, 8 total people, unknown number of infected outside. The math was bad. The math was always bad now, but the protocol said establish defensive position and wait for extraction, so that's what we'd do. The radio crackled. Outpost 7, this is Eagle Actual, acknowledge. I grabbed it. Eagle Actual, Outpost 7, go ahead. Extraction timeline confirmed. Hold position for 48 hours. Repeat, 48 hours. Evac inbound to your coordinates. Acknowledge. Eagle Actual confirmed. Holding for 48 hours. The relief was immediate, physical. Protocol working. Orders received. Mission clear. Captain Hendricks' voice, tinny through static. Stay tight, Vincent. We're coming for you. Hendricks and I did basic together, back when the world made sense. Roger that, sir. We'll be here. Eagle Actual out. Lily looked at me with those eyes, her mother's eyes, God rest her, and said, 48 hours? Yeah, baby. 2 days. You'll be able to walk by then. I didn't mention that she'd have to walk 8 miles through forest to reach the extraction point. Protocols said manage information to maintain morale. The other civilians clustered in the equipment area. Paresh Kothari, 60-something, diabetic, already looking rough around the edges. Elena Vasquez, a teacher from Billings, still had chalk dust on her jeans from whatever classroom she'd been in when the world ended. Bryn and her son Tyler, maybe 7 years old, kept asking when his dad was coming. No good answer for that. Yates moved through them, distributing water rations. Military precision. 1 bottle per person per 6 hours. The manual had a chart for hydration requirements. The manual had charts for everything except this. Specialist Drummond's voice came over the radio. Movement, south side. 3 contacts shambling. Range 200 meters. I climbed to the tower. Drummond had the M4, scanning through iron sights. We'd lost the optics in the crash. 3 infected, moving like broken puppets, classic Romero shamble. Training said aim shots, center mass until they drop, then headshots to confirm. Hold fire. Conserve ammunition. They're heading this way, Staff Sergeant. I know. Let them close to 50 meters, then engage. The infected used to be people. That one in the Carhartt jacket used to have a name, a family, a favorite bar. Training said don't think about that. Training said treat them as threats, not victims. Training was mostly right about that. When they got close enough to smell, the human part was hard to remember. 50 meters. 40. 30. Engage. Drummond fired 3 rounds. 2 infected dropped. The third kept coming. Another round. Down. Targets neutralized, Drummond said, already scanning for more. I checked my watch. 1800 hours. 46 hours until extraction. The protocols said we could hold that long. The protocols had charts and timelines and decision trees for everything. The protocols didn't account for the screaming that started an hour later. The screaming wasn't human, not anymore. High-pitched, sustained, like a car alarm made of throat tissue. It started from the tree line, maybe 500 meters out, and every infected within earshot turned toward it like compass needles finding north. Contact multiple targets, east perimeter. Drummond's voice had an edge now. Staff Sergeant, they're not shambling. I was already moving. Tower ladder, 3 rungs at a time, muscle memory from 100 training drills. Grab the binoculars. Runners. 15, maybe 20 infected, moving like sprinters. Not the shambling dead from 6 hours ago. These things had figured out coordination, speed, purpose. Yates, get everyone away from the east wall. Drummond, suppressing fire, controlled bursts. Make every round count. The protocols said conserve ammunition. The protocols also said establish kill zone and maintain defensive perimeter. Sometimes protocols contradicted themselves, and you made the call based on tactical priority. Right now, priority was not getting overrun in the next 5 minutes. Drummond fired. 1 runner dropped, tumbled, didn't get up. Another burst. 2 more down. But they were learning. The ones in back scattered, using trees for cover, basic fucking tactics from things that shouldn't remember tactics. They're flanking. Yates yelled. I dropped down, grabbed my M4, moved to the south window. 3 runners coming around the building. Took the first one with a double tap, chest, head. Second one got close enough I could see the bite marks on its neck, the wrong angle of its jaw. Dropped it at 15 feet. The third one hit the bay door before I could line up the shot. Metal screamed. Yates was there, sidearm out, fired point blank through the gap. It went down. Silence. The sudden kind that feels temporary. Ammunition count. 183 rounds remaining. 37 minutes into a 46-hour hold. The math was getting worse. Lily was crying. Not loud, she'd learned to cry quiet, which was its own kind of heartbreak. I knelt beside her. You're okay. We're okay. Dad, what if? Protocols say we hold position. Evac's coming. That's the mission. My voice had that NCO command tone. Automatic, reassuring, completely full of shit. Elena was helping Paresh with his insulin. His supplies would last maybe 36 hours. After that, things got complicated. After that, protocols didn't have good answers. The radio crackled. Outpost 7, Eagle Actual. Go ahead, Eagle Actual. Extraction timeline update. Evac pushed to 54 hours. Repeat, 54 hours. Can you hold? 6 more hours. Lily would be fine, better even. But our ammunition, Paresh's insulin, the infected multiplying outside. Confirmed, Eagle Actual. We can hold. Good man. Command's consolidating resources. You're not alone out there. Roger. Outpost 7 out. I wasn't stupid. Special forces, then reserves, then combat medic training. 15 years of reading between the lines of military communications. Consolidating resources meant they were fucked too. Not alone meant we were completely alone. But orders were orders. Protocols existed for a reason. You follow the chain, trust the system, execute the mission. Drummond climbed down from the tower. Staff Sergeant, I need to show you something. His face had that look, the one that meant bad news trying to be professional news. Inside the station chief's office, he'd found a locked cabinet. Hadn't been locked well. Inside, classified documents, CDC letterhead, military intelligence reports dated 2 weeks ago. Outbreak designation, Pandora, 7. Mutation rate, exponential. Containment priority, research observation. I read it twice. Then again. The words didn't change. They knew, Drummond said quietly. 2 weeks ago, they knew it was spreading. They've been watching it, studying mutation patterns. We're not evac assets, Staff Sergeant. We're data points. The protocols said verify intelligence before acting on it. The protocols said trust your chain of command. The protocols were written by the same people who wrote these reports. This doesn't change the mission, I said. Command voice. Professional. We hold until extraction. Drummond looked at me like I was infected already. Sir, they're not coming. This is a research observation post. They're watching to see how fast we die. You don't know that. These documents could be old, outdated. They're dated 5 days ago. There's a report with our convoy numbers. They rerouted us through the hot zone deliberately. I wanted to punch him. Not because he was wrong. Because he was right, and I needed him to be wrong. Needed the protocols to still mean something. That's when the new screaming started. Not the runner alert scream from before. This was different. Lower, resonant, like a horn made of vocal cords. And everything outside answered it. Dad. Lily's voice from the bay. small and scared. I ran. Through the door, across the equipment floor. The windows showed movement, dozens of infected, hundreds maybe, converging on the fire station from every direction. Not shambling, not running, coordinating, defensive positions. Yates, south windows. Drummond, east. I've got north. The protocols said establish fields of fire, maintain ammunition discipline, prioritize targets by proximity and threat level. The protocols didn't say what to do when the targets were adapting faster than your response could evolve. The first wave hit at 2200 hours. We burned through 60 rounds holding them back. The second wave came at midnight. 40 more rounds. By 0300, we had 83 rounds left, and the things outside were testing the doors, the windows, the roof. Learning. Planning. The radio hissed, then cut to a flat, synthetic tone. This is the emergency alert system. A biological threat is active in your area. Shelter in place. Avoid all contact with infected individuals. Do not attempt evacuation unless directed by federal authorities. Local response units are overwhelmed. Remain indoors. A sharp beep. Then dead static. Yates stared at the radio. They're telling us to stay put. Yeah, I said. Because they're not coming. Lily's ankle wasn't healed. Paresh's insulin was running out. Elena was praying in Spanish. Tyler had stopped asking about his dad, and the protocols, the beautiful clear protocols that gave me decision trees and tactical options, had exactly one answer. Hold position and wait for extraction that wasn't coming. Dawn came gray and wrong. The infected had pulled back during the night, not retreating, repositioning. I could see them through the binoculars, clustered in the tree line, maybe 200 strong. Waiting. They're learning to plan, Drummond said from the tower. Yesterday they attacked. Today they're staging. I didn't answer. The manual didn't cover enemy tactical evolution. The manual assumed your enemy was either human or too degraded to coordinate. Yates was inventorying what was left. 83 rounds. 2 days of food if we ration hard. 3 days of water. He didn't mention Paresh's insulin running out at hour 48. Didn't need to. Lily was awake, watching me with those eyes that saw too much. 14 years old. Should have been worried about algebra tests and whether the boy in homeroom liked her back. Instead, she was calculating survival odds in a fire station, surrounded by the infected dead. Can I walk yet? She asked. I checked the ankle. Swelling down. Mobility better. But weight bearing for 8 miles through forest? Not yet, sweetheart. Another day. The radio said 54 hours. That's tonight at 6. I know. Are they really coming? Protocol said maintain morale, manage information, project confidence. Lily said, Dad, please don't lie to me. I'd been trained to lie. Good lies, tactical lies, necessary lies. But she was my daughter, and we might die here, and some protocols mattered less than others. I don't know, I said. She nodded like she'd expected that answer. Mr. Kothari's insulin runs out today. I know. What happens then? We'll figure it out. The autopilot answer, the dad answer. Empty comfort. That's lying, she said quietly. The radio crackled before I could respond. Outpost 7, Eagle Actual. I grabbed it, maybe too fast. Eagle Actual, go ahead. Timeline update. Extraction delayed 72 hours. Repeat, 72 hours. Environmental conditions delaying air operations. 18 more hours. Lily's ankle would be better. Our ammunition would be gone. Paresh would be in diabetic crisis. Eagle Actual, advise alternate extraction coordinates. Current position becoming untenable. Static. Then, negative Outpost 7. Hold your position. That's an order. Sir, we have 8 civilians, limited supplies, and increasing infected pressure. Request permission to break position and move to. Staff Sergeant, you have your orders. Hold position. Evac will reach you. Eagle Actual out. The radio went dead. Not end of transmission dead. Actually dead. I tried 3 channels. Nothing. They cut us off, Drummond said. He'd been listening from the doorway. They're not delaying evac. They're preventing communication, so we can't report what we found. The classified documents were still on the desk. Pandora, 7. Mutation observation. Research priority. We weren't soldiers protecting civilians. We were lab rats in a cage, being observed while the infection evolved around us. Elena was crying. Bryn was holding Tyler, whispering things mothers whisper when they can't promise safety anymore. Paresh sat against the wall, conscious but fading. Yates looked at me. Orders, Staff Sergeant? Protocol said follow the chain of command. Protocol said hold position as ordered. Protocol said trust the system. The system had used us as bait. We break position at nightfall, I said. Pack essential supplies. Prepare for foot movement. Sir, your daughter can't walk 8 miles. I'll carry her. Drummond stepped forward. Staff Sergeant, if we leave, Mr. Kothari can't make it. No insulin, can barely stand now. We carry Lily, we can't carry him too. There it was. The decision the protocols didn't cover. The trolley problem in real time. We're not leaving anyone, I said. Then we die here, Drummond said flatly. All of us. That's what staying means. Mr. Kothari included. Paresh's voice weak. He's right, Vincent. Sir, we can. I'm 64. Diabetes, bad knees, probably early heart failure. You carry me, you slow down, everyone dies. You leave me, maybe the others make it. That's not how this works. We're soldiers. We don't leave people behind. You're a father, Paresh said, and your daughter needs you to break your rules. Lily was watching me. Elena. Tyler. Everyone waiting for the protocol, the decision tree, the manual answer. The manual said never abandon wounded. The manual said complete the mission. The manual said follow orders. The manual was written by people who'd used us as research subjects. Dad, Lily said quietly. What do we do? From the tower, Drummond's voice. Movement. Multiple contacts, north and east. I climbed fast. Through the binoculars, I saw them. New infected, different from the runners. Lean, predatory, moving with purpose through the trees. Hunters, my brain supplied. Some combination of speed and intelligence that hadn't existed yesterday. 3 of them circled the building. Testing. Probing. They'd attack when they found weakness. Ammunition count? I asked Drummond. 79 rounds. I did the math. 3 hunters, 200 infected backing them up. If we held position, we'd burn through ammunition in the first engagement. After that, hand-to-hand with infected that were learning to hunt. If we ran now, Lily couldn't walk. I'd have to carry her. Paresh couldn't make it regardless. No insulin, declining fast. Option A, attempt evacuation now. Leave Paresh. Maybe save Lily and the others. Break every oath I'd ever taken. Option B, hold position. Follow protocols. Pray for extraction that wasn't coming. Watch everyone die. There was no option C. There was never an option C in the real decisions. Staff Sergeant. Yates was waiting for orders. I looked at Lily. At Paresh. At the civilians who trusted me to make the impossible choice that training never prepared me for. We evacuate at dusk, I said. Essential gear only. 8 miles to alternate extraction point. We move fast, we move quiet. Drummond. What about Mr. Kothari? I'll give him morphine and a sidearm. He stays behind. The words tasted like betrayal. Like every value the uniform was supposed to represent. Paresh nodded. Just once. Permission for his own abandonment. Dad, Lily whispered. We can't. We're out of options. I'm sorry. She looked at me with something that might have been understanding, or might have been the beginning of never forgiving me. Hard to tell the difference. The hunters outside screamed. The infected answered. The assault was coming, and I'd just decided to save my daughter by leaving a good man to die alone. We had 3 hours until dusk. 3 hours to pack, prepare, and pretend there was a version of this where everyone lived. Paresh sat in the chief's office, door closed, probably praying or making peace or whatever you do when you know you're the sacrifice. I'd given him the morphine, a sidearm with 3 magazines, instructions he didn't need. Former Marine, Vietnam. He knew what staying behind meant. Lily wouldn't look at me. Just sat against the wall, testing her ankle, wincing. It would hold for the hike. Would have to. Elena was packing food, granola bars, water bottles, first aid kit. Her hands shook. Tyler kept asking why Mr. Kothari wasn't coming. Bryn couldn't answer. Staff Sergeant. Yates, voice low. The hunters are positioning. South perimeter, 3 contacts, holding distance. They're waiting for something. For us to run, I said. They can smell desperation. If they hit us during the hike, then we deal with it. Command voice. Confident. Completely hollow. Drummond came down from the tower. Infected counts up to 250. Maybe more in the trees. If they all push at once, They won't. Hunters are smart enough to wait for dark. We'll be gone by then. Sir, about Mr. Kothari. That's done, specialist. Focus on the mission. He looked at me like I was someone else. Maybe I was. Maybe the guy who followed protocols and believed in the manual died when I read those classified reports. Maybe he died when I decided to save 7 people by sacrificing one. The math made sense tactically. 7 versus 1. The mission was protect and evacuate civilians. I was executing the mission, but Paresh had a daughter. Elena had told me during the convoy. His daughter lived in Seattle, worked in tech, called him every Sunday. After this, she'd never know what happened. Never know he'd been left behind. Never know he'd chosen to stay, so a stranger's kid could live. Never know I'd let him. 15 minutes, I called. Final checks. Weapons, water, medical supplies. We move light and fast. Lily finally looked at me. I can walk. You don't have to carry me. I know. I will anyway. Dad, this is wrong. I know that too. Then why? Because you're my daughter. Not tactical. Not protocol. Just truth. Because if I lose you, nothing else matters. Not the mission, not the manual, not the oath. You're the only thing I have left of your mother, and I can't watch you die. So Mr. Kothari dies instead? Yes. The word hung there, ugly and honest. She looked away. Mom would be ashamed of you. That hit like a gut shot. Because she was right. Jennifer would have found the option C that I couldn't. Would have made the heroic choice, saved everyone, been the person the uniform promised we'd be. I was just a father who'd run out of options. Dusk came purple and cold. The hunters were circling now, tighter, sensing movement inside. The infected horde held back, waiting for the signal. Paresh opened the office door. He looked smaller than before. Tired, but steady. Coordinates? He asked. I gave him the extraction point GPS. If you make it out. I won't. He smiled. Small, sad. But I'll buy you 18 minutes. Maybe 20 if I'm lucky. Don't waste them. Paresh! Tell my daughter I was brave. He checked the sidearm, chambered around. Tell her I chose this. I'd been trained to lie. This felt like the lie that mattered. I will. We moved. South exit, away from the hunter positions. Drummond on point, Yates rear guard, me in the middle with Lily on my back. Elena and Bryn and Tyler between us. The last thing I saw was Paresh in the tower window, M4 raised, watching our exit. Then we were in the trees. The forest was purple shadow and pine smell, and the constant awareness that infected were everywhere. Lily's weight on my back felt like every choice I'd ever made. Necessary burden, moral cost. Quarter mile in, the shooting started behind us. Paresh's M4 controlled bursts. 3-round discipline. He was giving us time, buying minutes with bullets. Tyler started crying. Bryn hushed him. We moved faster. Half mile. The M4 fire continued, sporadic now. Running low. 3/4 mile. Silence. Then, faint but clear, a sidearm. 3 shots. Pause. 2 more shots. Pause. 1 final shot. He's gone, Drummond said quietly. I didn't stop moving. Couldn't stop. Paresh had given us 18 minutes. I'd spent 9. 9 minutes to get far enough that his death meant something. Lily was crying against my shoulder, quiet, the way she'd learned. Mr. Kothari, she whispered. I know, baby. He died because you chose me. Yes. That's not fair. No. A mile in, I looked back. The fire station was burning. Orange flames against purple sky, smoke rising through pine trees. The infected had breached it, probably 10 minutes ago, right after Paresh's last shot. They'd torn through the building, found it empty, set it ablaze somehow. Chaos and rage and fire. The American flag still flew from the tower. Crisp military protocol, perfect position, completely surrounded by death and destruction. Paresh had held that position. Fired until empty, switched to sidearm, made every round count. Basic training discipline maintained to the last bullet. The last bullet he'd used on himself. Because I'd left him there. Because I'd chosen my daughter over a good man who deserved to live. Because the protocols had failed, and the manual had no answers, and I'd made the choice that would haunt me forever. Dad, we have to keep moving. Lily's voice, small against my neck. I know. Was it worth it? Mr. Kothari dying so we could run. The question every leader asks. The one that never has a good answer. Ask me when you're safe, I said. We moved deeper into the forest. Behind us, the fire station burned. Paresh's last stand, reduced to smoke and ash and the terrible mathematics of choosing who lives. The flag kept flying. Even from a mile away, I could see it. Perfect protocol. Everyone dead. The civilian extraction point wasn't military. Some kind of volunteer operation. Farmers and hunters and people who'd decided the government couldn't save them, so they'd save themselves. They had trucks, fuel, weapons, and zero interest in my rank or orders. The woman running it called herself Foxtrot, probably not her real name, took one look at our group and said, 8 of you left the fire station. I count 7. 1 stayed behind, I said. Bought us time to escape. She nodded like she'd heard that story before. You're court-martialed, you know. Military put out an order. Any soldiers abandoning posts are considered deserters. You're done. I know. Don't care much for their rules anyway. She gestured to the trucks. We're headed to the Canadian line. Rumor says they're maintaining actual quarantine up there. You're welcome to come. Lily was already in a truck bed, Elena and Bryn and Tyler with her. Yates and Drummond stood apart, still in formation, waiting for orders that didn't matter anymore. Dismissed, I told them. Get to safety. That's the mission now. Yates saluted. Drummond just nodded. Then they were gone, blending into the crowd of survivors who didn't give a damn about rank or chain of command or protocols. I found a corner, sat against a truck tire, and felt the weight finally hit. 300 miles in 72 hours. 50 plus firefights. 8 civilians down to 7. Paresh Kothari dead because I'd chosen family over duty. The protocols said never abandon the wounded. The protocols said protect all civilians equally. The protocols said follow orders. I'd broken every one. Lily found me an hour later. Her ankle was wrapped properly now, some civilian medic who actually had supplies. She could walk almost normal. Foxtrot says we leave at dawn, she said. Okay, Dad, are you? I'm fine. Automatic. Empty. She sat beside me. Quiet for a long time. Then, I don't hate you for leaving him. You should. I hate that you had to choose. That's different. Smart kid. Too smart. Jennifer's daughter. Your mom would have found another way, I said. Maybe. Or maybe she'd have made the same choice. Lily leaned against my shoulder. Foxtrot says 3 kids from another group survived because they got here. Without Mr. Kothari's sacrifice, we wouldn't have made it. Without us making it, those kids wouldn't have anyone to share supplies with. So maybe it means something. The math didn't work that way. You couldn't justify one death by pointing at other lives saved. But she was trying to give me permission to live with what I'd done, and I loved her for it even if I couldn't accept it. His daughter's name is Priya, I said. She lives in Seattle. Works in tech. Paresh talked about her during the convoy. You remember that? I remember everything. Combat medic training. Track casualties, remember names. Because every life matters even when you can't save them all. Will you tell her? If I can find her. Lily was quiet. Then, what will you say? That he volunteered to stay. That he was brave. That he chose to give us time. That's a lie. It's the lie that matters. She understood. 14 years old and already fluent in necessary lies. The apocalypse had made her grow up too fast. 3 weeks later, the civilian convoy got us to Montana-Alberta border. The Canadians actually had a working quarantine, shoot on site for infected, mandatory testing, but functional civilization on the other side. They separated us for quarantine processing. I didn't see Lily for 6 days. When I did, she was thinner, harder, older than 14 should look. They're not letting you across, she said. Military deserter. They called it a coordination with U.S. command issue. It's fine. You're safe. That's what matters. Dad, go to Calgary. They have refugee processing there. Elena will help you. You'll be okay. She grabbed my hand. Tight. This isn't fair. No, but it's better than the alternative. I squeezed back. I chose to save you. I'd choose it again. Every time, even knowing you'd lose everything, especially knowing that. They took her through the checkpoint an hour later. I watched until she disappeared into the processing building. My daughter. Safe. Alive. Hating what I'd done but living because of it. That should have felt like victory. I stayed at the border camp another week. Worked security. Used my combat medic training on the endless stream of injured refugees. Kept busy. Kept moving. If you stop moving, you think. If you think, You see Paresh's face in the tower window. Priya Kothari found me on day 9. She was thin, hollow-eyed, wearing a Microsoft hoodie that looked 3 sizes too big. She walked up while I was inventorying medical supplies and said, "Your Staff Sergeant Reed." I knew before she said her name. The resemblance was there, Paresh's eyes, his careful posture. "Yes, my father was in your group." "Paresh Kothari, they said you evacuated from a fire station." My mouth went dry. The lie I'd prepared, the noble fiction about volunteers and sacrifice, it stuck in my throat like broken glass. "Yes," I said. "What happened to him?" This was it. The moment I could give her the comfort lie. He volunteered. He was brave. He chose to buy us time. The story that let her grieve a hero instead of a man abandoned by the people he trusted. But I'd told too many lies. To Lily. To myself. To Paresh when I'd said we wouldn't leave anyone behind. "We had to evacuate on foot," I said. "My daughter couldn't walk, fractured ankle. Your father couldn't travel, diabetes, no insulin left. I could carry 1 person. Not 2. Her face didn't change. Just waited. I chose my daughter. Left your father at the station with ammunition and morphine. He held off the infected while we escaped. Bought us 18 minutes. Probably saved our lives. He volunteered?" Her voice was flat. "No. I made the choice. Told him he was staying. I stopped. Started again. He accepted it. Made it easier for me. But it wasn't his choice. It was mine." Priya stared at me for a long time. I'd seen that look before, in Fallujah, from a kid whose father we couldn't save. The look that says you're supposed to be the hero, and you're just another person who failed. "Why are you telling me this?" she asked finally. "Because he deserves the truth. Because you deserve to know your father died, because I chose my family over him. Because I can live with breaking my oath, but I can't live with lying about it." She hit me. Right hand, decent form, caught me on the jaw. I didn't block it. Didn't deserve to. "You left him to die alone." "Yes. He called me every Sunday. Every single Sunday for 30 years. He called to tell me he was in an evacuation convoy, that he'd be fine, that the military was protecting them. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't bring him back." Her voice cracked. "Sorry doesn't change that he died scared and alone because you decided your daughter was worth more than him. You're right. I should hate you. You should." She stood there, shaking, crying, and I had nothing to offer except the truth she already knew. Her father was dead. I'd left him. Some choices don't have good versions. "Did he suffer?" she asked finally. "No. He held position, fired until empty, used the sidearm on himself. 30 seconds, maybe. Marine discipline to the end. He was a Marine? Vietnam, 68 to 71. He told me during the convoy." She nodded, wiped her eyes. "I didn't know that. He never talked about it. Some things are too hard to talk about." She looked at me, really looked, like she was trying to find something. "Do you regret it? Leaving him? The truth or the lie?" I'd already chosen truth. Every day, every hour. I see him in that tower window. I hear his last shots. I know exactly how many minutes he bought us and exactly what they cost. I regret it. But if I had to choose again, knowing everything, I'd still choose my daughter. That's monstrous. Yes. She turned to leave. Stopped. The other 3. What? Foxtrot's people said 3 kids survived because your group shared supplies. Tyler and 2 others. They wouldn't have made it without the food you brought. I hadn't known their names. Just numbers, 3 kids, underweight, sick. We'd given them our extra rations. So my father's death saved 4 people total, Priya said. Your daughter. 3 strangers' kids. That's supposed to make it okay. No. Then what's the point? There isn't one. Bad things happen. Good people die. Sometimes you make impossible choices, and there's no version where everyone lives. But those 4 people are alive. That doesn't justify your father's death. Doesn't make it noble or meaningful. But it's not nothing. She stood there a long time. Then, I hope your daughter understands what you did for her. I hope it was worth it. Me too. She left. I never saw her again. The border camp became permanent. Lily got through to Calgary. I got 1 letter, smuggled through the refugee network. She was safe. Elena was taking care of her. She still thought about Mr. Kothari every day. She loved me but didn't know how to reconcile that with what I'd done. I didn't know either. Yates and Drummond showed up at the camp 2 months later. Dishonorably discharged, nowhere else to go. We didn't talk about the fire station. Didn't need to. We just worked security, patched up refugees, and tried not to think about the people we'd left behind. The infection kept spreading. Canada's quarantine held for 6 months, then collapsed. We moved north, then west, always ahead of the horde. The protocols had predicted containment within 90 days. The protocols had been wrong about everything. I stopped wearing the uniform. Couldn't stand the weight of it anymore. All those protocols, all that training, all those oaths, they'd prepared me for every scenario except the one where following orders meant watching everyone die. So I'd broken the rules. Saved 7 people. Lost 1 good man. Got court-martialed for desertion. Some nights I dream about the fire station. Paresh in the tower, flag flying, perfect military protocol surrounded by burning chaos. He raises the M4, gives me one last nod, and I turn away like a coward wearing my daughter as an excuse. Some nights I dream about the alternative. Staying at the station, following orders, waiting for extraction that never came. Watching Lily's face as the ammunition runs out and the infected breach the doors. Dying together, protocol intact, everyone martyred for a mission that was always a lie. I don't know which dream is worse. Lily writes when she can. She's 17 now, working with refugee children in Calgary. Teaching them math and science and hope, things I couldn't give her. She signs the letters "Love, Lily," but never "Love, your daughter." Small distance, permanent scar. She's alive because of my choice. 3 other kids are alive because we made it to the extraction point. That's something. Not redemption. Not justification. Just arithmetic. For lives for one. The math works tactically. Morally, it's a debt that never clears. Priya Kothari was right. I'm monstrous. I chose my daughter over a good man who deserved better. Made the call that training said I shouldn't. Violated every oath the uniform represented. But Lily's alive. Drawing breath, growing up. Building a future in whatever broken world we've got left. Some days that feels like victory. Most days it feels like cowardice with convenient math. The infected are still out there. Still evolving. Still learning. The protocols said we'd contain them, study them, develop countermeasures. The protocols were written by people who saw us as research subjects. I don't trust protocols anymore. Don't trust the system. Don't trust anything that asks you to sacrifice good people for the greater good, while the people making those calls stay safe behind walls. All I trust now is this. When it mattered most, when the choice was impossible and both options destroyed something vital, I chose to save my daughter. I can't undo it. Can't make it right. Can't bring Paresh back or erase Priya's grief or heal Lily's damaged trust. But I can keep moving forward. Keep using my training to help refugees. Keep trying to save whoever I can, even knowing I can't save everyone. It's not redemption. It's just stubbornness. The refusal to let Paresh's death mean nothing. If he bought us 18 minutes, I owe him a lifetime of making those minutes matter. The flag probably burned with the station. Crisp military protocol reduced to ash. But I remember it flying there, perfect, pristine, completely surrounded by death. That's the image I can't shake. The one that wakes me at 0300 in cold sweats. Not the infected. Not the horror. Just a flag. A good man. And the choice that saved my daughter by leaving him behind. I'd make it again. God help me, I'd make it again. But I'll never stop seeing that flag. Never stop hearing those last shots. Never stop knowing exactly what I am. A father who broke every rule to save his child, and a coward who calls it duty because the truth is too heavy to carry. Lily's alive. That has to mean something. Some days I almost believe it.